What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and what's this? Is this two good games in a row from Chelsea? Yes. Brilliant. Another! It was the closest drink I had. I'm gonna regret it later whenever I'm like belching halfway through this. But anyways, yeah, two good games in a row. Not just defensively, not just possession wise, like actually well played, good attacking, good defense. We're putting a good team under pressure too, because it's not like Everton just rolled over. Liverpool, there were times whenever they definitely did not seem up to their best. Everton today, I thought, gave us a game. They put us under a lot of high pressure. They actually did work it down the field quite a bit, but we were solid. We actually got it past their press and managed to get in behind their defense sometimes. I mean, it looked what I wanted to see. The improvement that I wanted to see, not just in the results, in the play. I really enjoyed watching it, and that's not something I cannot say that I felt that way under Tuchel. Like even in the Liverpool one, I was like, okay, but how much of this is just it suits us to play quick, so we just switched it for that game. In this case, it looks like this is what we want to try to do going forward. And I'm so rather prefer that. I have no problem keeping possession. But if all your possession is going to be in the backfield and you're just constantly trying to play out of pressure and you're never getting it down the field, what's the point? Or even if you do get it down the field, if your first instinct is to turn back and go back to your defense so we can keep it safe and keep the possession, then what's the point? Why are you even playing? Just go play possession ball, off the field somewhere else. Don't get on the field where you need to win and just try to keep the ball for 90 minutes because that's not going to win you games. So the fact that these past two games we've actually looked to try to get in behind, we've actually looked to attack, it's a great improvement, and I really hope this is a step towards what we're going to see under Tuchel because it was even because the game against Liverpool, it was different in the sense that they sit very high, and if you watch the game against Fulham, they did the same thing there. Like just leave so much space in behind the defense. So our best option was to try to get Werner in behind, and we did that a lot. We went over the top in behind the defense, and it created several chances for us. In this game, there wasn't a whole lot of space in behind. Everton weren't sitting as high with their defense. They were sitting a bit deeper, but they were still keeping a bit of a high press on us with their front three or four. So we couldn't just keep possession in the backfield and try to break them down. They were still stepping out a bit, which means now your best bet is to keep it on the ground, and then once you get it down the field, nice little through ball in behind to run onto instead of trying to dump it over the top and just ending up in the keeper's hands. So it's not even the fact that we just kept looking to go over the top. We actually switched it up. We still went forward, we still attacked, but it was a different style of attack today, and that's great to see. That we still have the mindset to keep going forward and actually get it down the field and create chances, but we're not even doing it the same way in this game. That's brilliant. So, yeah, I really hope that we can continue to see this play. As far as his lineup is concerned from Tuchel, I mean, I didn't mind it too much. Obviously, there was always going to be a bit of rotation with how many games are coming very quick and fast. So, was the Everton game the right one to rotate on? Who's to say? It ended up working out fine. But yeah, Havertz comes in for Mount, Kovacic came in for Conte, and then Zuma came in for Rudiger. I mean, all of them good players in their own right. Take nothing away from those three, but definitely not what you quite expect to see. And also, he brought in Hudson-Odoi and put him up in the front three, which was a decision that at first I wasn't sure about because I've talked about it before. I really do think his best position is out wide. I think that's why the wing back role actually works for him because he still works back and helps, but he's at his best when he's driving down the line and cutting in. However, I thought today he actually, did well there, so I can't really complain about Tuchel moving him out of the position I want to see him in if it works out for us. And then the other thing from Tuchel that I want to talk about was the substitutions. Kind of iffy on him, just because, for one, you bring in Mount as your first sub for Hudson-Odoi. Not a bad sub. However, at that point, Maybe he was already planning on making the sub and he didn't want to switch it, but he makes the sub right after he went 2-0 up. At that point, you don't really need to bring in Mount. Because great player. Probably our best attacking player in the moment. But we don't need him whenever we're 2-0 up. And you want to keep him fit. You don't want to risk possible injury. Maybe, Pickford goes in, jumps in again, and hits him this time. So it seemed like a risk to bring him in. And then also I felt like the other reason why I don't want to see Mount is because I'd rather see Pulisic get some time. He's still kind of coming back into fitness. He's still trying to find that form that he had, and he's still not there yet. So why not give him a chance, especially in this game that was becoming so stretched? That is Pulisic's best game. When the game is stretched and he has room to run at the defense, that's where he's at his best. So I felt like he would have been a better option to bring in there instead of Mount. So that one was a little frustrating, and then also the fact that he brings in Pulisic, kind of what he did to Havertz against Liverpool, where you brought him in mainly just to waste time at the end of the game. I was a little disappointed in that one as well. But then the other sub was Conte for Kovacic, which is just you bring in your defensive just beast in the midfield to kind of keep the clean sheet, and he did his job well. Almost got a goal too. So yeah, overall, I am pleased with what Tuchel has done these past 2 games, and it's the change that I've been wanting to see. So it took a little bit of time, but hopefully now we're finally getting to see what he's bringing that's different from Lampard. Then I do also want to address one other thing. I've been talking about, some of the controversial decisions that have, gone for us or gone against us in the past couple games. But I mainly have been addressing it at the end of the episode because it's kind of like, whatever. Like, people are going to complain. But here's my issue. Where's the consistency? Like, I'm pretty sure they changed it to where the sleeve is considered now to be not a handball, right? Like, that's why whenever Werner had his arm outstretched and this part of his arm was offside, that was offside because supposedly this part of the arm is playable. Ball comes in. It's Havertz right here. Not here, not here, here. Very much on the sleeve. Handball. No goal. What? What? And that's, that's the frustrating thing about all of this. Not even from a Chelsea fan perspective. We won the game still. That goal did not end up meaning anything. We won against Liverpool, so that goal that got chalked back didn't mean anything either. That's not the frustrating thing. The frustrating thing is that as a fan of the sport in general, a neutral, if I'd been watching this game and didn't have a connection to either team, I'm watching that and I'm like, oh, that's a great goal. There's no way that's a handball. They gave it a handball. Like, it takes away the fun of watching because you're just waiting for what dumb referee decision is going to screw up the game next. And it shouldn't feel like that. It should not feel like the referees have a huge hand in the game and they can affect the game because they feel like they need to. I would much rather have just the dumb referee decision and deal with the fact that, well, humans make mistakes, rather than, oh, well, we got this system in place so we can correct those mistakes, and then they just make even more mistakes. Because I think that's the problem, is that the mistakes are about the same. Whether you have VAR, whether you don't. The mistakes are about the same. But the problem is VAR was brought in to correct the mistakes. And instead of correcting the mistakes, it's just caused different mistakes. So the amount of mistakes that we've had, refereeing mistakes that we've had, is about the same. But it's become so much more prominent these last couple of years because VAR was supposed to stop those mistakes, and we still have the same amount. In fact, VAR is making its own mistakes. And they're having to change the rules to kind of like, oh, well, let's take out this gray area, so we'll just make it like it's this. But then that creates another gray area in a different spot. Oh, well, if any part of the body, if any part of the striker's body is in line with the defender, they're onside. Okay, well, does that include the hand too? Does that include the defender's hand? If the defender's hand is out like this, does that mean that now the striker is onside, but he wasn't before without the hand? Like, there's so many issues. Just pick something, make it clear cut, No more VAR. Just go back to the normal referees. They make their decision in the moment, and that's it. We don't have to sit here and go, oh, but what if they change it? Oh, but what if VAR decides to step in? Oh, but there was a slight little nick off of a guy's hand. That should count as a penalty, right? Oh, there was a slight part of his sleeve that was still onside, so that's offside. Right? There's just so much of that now, and I'm sick of it. So yeah, that decision today kind of set me off. I was, as soon as it happened, as soon as he called handball, I remember thinking that didn't seem like handball, and then they showed the replay, and sure enough, hitting upper arm on the sleeve, and I'm thinking, okay, well, according to the new rule, any part of the sleeve is considered part of the playable part of the body, so it's a goal, right? And the VAR says no goal. Great. Anyways, on to the individual performances. Mendy didn't really have much to do today, honestly. Everton didn't challenge us with their shots as much. Their main challenge came from the pressure they put on us whenever we had the ball, and then the build-up play was very good, but there wasn't quite that final pass. Honestly, it was kind of like what we looked like before. A lot of good build-up play, knocking it around well, but then just nothing when it gets in that final third. So Mendy really wasn't challenged much today. He had a couple pretty easy saves and a couple clearances on crosses, but aside from that, wasn't really involved. The back three I thought all played pretty well. Christensen I thought had the best of the three just because he had to make a couple really good last-ditch challenges, and he's honestly the type of defender that sometimes I do get a bit worried with him just because of the way he reads the game. He's not the best. Sometimes he makes rash decisions and dives in or gets caught out of position. But today I thought he read it very well. He was, in general, read the play of the game, read the passes, all of it. I thought he handled himself very well, and it looked much more like the mature defender that a lot of people were saying he was going to be. So hopefully he can continue that run. Espilicueta, of course, just always just there. He's solid. He reads the game very well. He's very intelligent defender. And then Zuma, as a defender that's kind of been hit or miss this season. He's started off the season very well, but over the past few games that he's played, he's kind of looked a little iffy. Today I thought was a step in the right direction for him. He played very well, kept, what's his name? It wasn't Richarlison. It wasn't Calvert-Lewin. It was the other one. Was it Sigurdsson? I don't remember. He kept somebody, pretty much under wraps. They didn't really have much of a chance. So another a good game from him that really cements that he's not fading away. He's just had a little bit of a slip up. James and Alonso on the wingbacks, probably the quietest of all of our players. And it mainly is down to you expect them to be a bit more involved in our attack. You expect them to provide a bit more. But James, it felt like, again, didn't really have any answers when he got into the final third. A lot of good runs, but his crosses and his final passes, not good enough. And it's something I've been saying all season, and again, showed it today. And honestly, as good as Hudson-Odoi looked in that front three, I really do feel like watching James today, Hudson-Odoi is just a better option there. Because we don't really have another right wing back. Hudson-Odoi is kind of the other option that can play there. And watching James today, I'm thinking Hudson-Odoi is a better option. He really is. He provides more going forward. And while James is a bit of a better defender, Hudson-Odoi still works back. And you don't have to have your wingback be extremely defensive minded when you've got Espilicueta behind you. All you have to do is just make sure you're at least there to help out. But for the most part, you don't have to be a fantastic defender in that position because Espilicueta is going to have you covered. So I really do think just how everything's going, I feel like Hudson-Odoi is our best option there. Not just because I think he's better out wide, but just because I think he's a better option than James right now. And James, he's got to figure himself out. He's got to figure out what happened between last season and this season that's taken away his real impotence. I think that's the word. Whenever it comes to that attacking final third. Alonso, just again, he came out flying when he first started under Tuchel, and now it's just kind of, again, same old. He's involved, he's around, but he's not really as effective as he was at the beginning. And a lot of that is just down to, I think the speed of the game has kind of left him behind, and he is getting a bit older, and you can tell there are moments whenever he needs that speed to kind of drive past the defender, and he doesn't have it. Um, I mean, he's still obviously very technically gifted, but a lot of our play is getting very fast, and it's getting the ball in behind quickly, and unfortunately, he's not that type of quick player that can dart in behind the defense. I mean, I have no doubt he'll be very effective when we get against teams that are kind of packing it in. Your Burnleys, your West Broms, your what's another one likes to sit in a lot. Newcastle sometimes. Those teams that like to really pack it in. He'll be great. Because he can work his way into the box. He's very tall, he's strong, and he's got a good touch. So in those games, kind of like with Giroud, he's better suited. But in games like this, where the other team's going to step out a bit, they're going to be stretched, they're going to press us high. You want to have players out there who are going to be quicker, which is why Werner is a better option than Giroud. I think Chilwell would be a better option than Alonso in this. It's why Chilwell was a better option against Liverpool. So, yeah, I really do feel like it's just kind of, not necessarily he's a worse option than Chilwell, but I think he's a different option. I think we need to look at what's the best option in this game, based on, I guess, the opposition, what they're going to take against us. Kovacic and Jorginho in the middle. Jorginho, again, another game where defensively, obviously, I still have my issues with him, but he looked a lot better with the ball. And it's just, he has these games where all of a sudden he pops up and he looks like he knows how to play. He moves the ball quickly, he gets it past the defense very quickly, he can find that through ball that cuts defenses apart. I just hope he can continue to do it, because he did start to do it a little bit, and then at some point started to fade away and started to go back into his old ways of just, I'm going to keep possession, keep dropping it back, bad passes that are giveaways. So I really hope he can keep this form right now, because we do need a distributor that works well in there. So yeah, I hope to see more of that out of him. And then Kovacic, solid from him overall, worked around in the midfield. Did well to win the ball back quite a bit, but also just caused a lot of problems with his dribbling, opened up the field, which is something he's very good at. So, yeah, both of them I thought held down the midfield very well. And then the front three, I thought all of them played well today. Hudson-Odoi, probably one of his best games under Tuchel so far, which again kind of flies in the face of like, oh, he only is good on the wide. Like, no, he's obviously very good anywhere you put him. It's just, I feel like his style of play suits better when he's out wide and can drive past players. But hey, if he can do it inside too, then fantastic. Put him inside as well. Werner, again, more good runs, more good attacking play from him. But the final shot, and jokes are going to be made because he had several where he was one-on-one with the keeper and doesn't take his chance. But the fact that he's getting those chances now, I do feel like eventually the goals will come, and a lot of it is just down to he hasn't really had a whole lot of chances like that throughout the season. So the more chances he gets, the better he'll become in those scenarios, and the easier it'll be for him to kind of cool himself down, chill out, and then find the corner. And then Havertz, player who's kind of been out of form for a while and then came in flying in this game. I mean, just from the very beginning of the game, I remember watching him make a really just quick darting run. And I was just like, holy crap. I have never seen Havertz run that fast before. I mean, he was flying today. He was ready to play. He was full of energy. And yeah, I mean, he deserved the goal he should have gotten that turned into an own goal. And then he deserved the other goal that should have been given but was instead turned into a handball. And then he deserved the penalty assist that he was given. So overall, I mean, just fantastic play from him. Hopefully he can continue this run of form as well, because we're going to have a lot of games coming up soon. So we want to be confident in our substitutions. We want to be confident in these rotations that are going to have to happen, because not everyone on the field can play every single game. And that's obvious. Most people know this. And so whenever you bring in these other players that haven't played, or maybe are playing like every other game, you don't want to bring in players that you can't trust. And you don't want to bring in players that you're worried that they're not going to get the job done. So really good to see him step up today, and hopefully he can continue it. And then the subs that came on, Mount came on, did okay. A little slow at the beginning, but then grew into the game and typical Mount performance. And then Conte, like I said, came on to keep the clean sheet and did his job with that and nearly extended our lead. And then Pulisic was kind of a late addition, and just again, kind of like Havertz, hate it for him. I hope he gets more time. I hope he can improve from where he is right now. But overall, I mean, it's another clean sheet at home, which they've been talking about that, several clean sheets in a row under Tuchel, and another unbeaten game, and another good game in a row. Like, it's just a lot of good stuff about this game. Makes me excited to see what the end of the season is going to look like for us. I feel pretty confident now, actually, that we can stay top four. Champions League, I mean, I don't think we're going to be beating teams like Bayern, teams like PSG, teams like Barca, whoever makes it out of that game. We're still not quite there yet, but I feel more confident that we can actually, that we can get past teams like Atletico Madrid. We can get past teams like, I guess, Borussia Mönchengladbach, or whoever else is up in there aside from those top few teams. I feel pretty confident we can get past them. So I haven't felt like that for a while. Like when we were going into the Atletico game, I remember thinking, I just don't think this is going to be good for us. And then it turned out okay, and now we're playing well. So yeah, I'm feeling more confident than I have in a while, and it's a good feeling to have. So, but anyways, with all that being said, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.